In this part of 2.2, we'll be talking about more properties of exponents, and in the next video, we'll go over some examples. Here we have 5 different properties of exponents. Now, they're not too difficult to work with, but when we put them all together, they can be kind of tricky, and there's a couple that students tend to mix up, so you really need to practice. Practice makes perfect on these. So our first one's going to be product of powers. And I'm going to write this one out long ways to illustrate a point here. N to the fourth would be n times n times n times n. That's n to the fourth right there. And n to the third would be n times n times n. So there I have n to the third. How many n's do I have total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have n to the seventh when I have n to the fourth times n to the third. Well, what did I do with my 4 and my 3? Well, I added them together. And we can do that anytime we have like bases. So let's look at the next one. Y squared times y to the third times y. Well, I have 2 plus 3, and then keep in mind there is a little 1 here on the y. When there's no exponent there, it's y to the first. So 2 plus 3 plus 1 gives me y to the sixth. And let's try this last one. We have 3 plus 7 gives me 10. So we're going to add our exponents. Alright, that's our rule. Add the exponents when we have like bases. That's product of powers. Quotient of powers, division. Well, let's write this one out. I have x to the fifth, so x times x times x times x times x over x times x times x. Okay, well, if we think back to like cancellations and things, we could cancel those, cancel those, cancel those. How many am I left with? I'm left with 2 of them. So I get x squared. Well, what did I do there? 5 minus 3, so 5 minus 3 gives me 2. So when we're dividing quotient of powers, we'll be subtracting exponents. Alright, let's try the next one. Here we have y to the third over y squared. 3 minus 2 gives me 1, or just y. So y to the first, or just y. And lastly, once you guys try this one on your own, think of it as y to the eighth over y to the fourth. Yes, I will be getting, well, 8 minus 4 is 4, so y to the fourth is my answer. Alright, let's keep moving. Power of a power. The power of a power, let's once again write it out. Well, I have y to the third, that's y times y times y, and that whole thing is squared, so really I'm writing it twice. So I have y times y times y, and y times y times y. Well, how many y's do I have there? I have, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have y to the sixth. Well, with 3 and 2, what operation would I have to do in order to get 6? I'd be multiplying, so 3 times 2 gives me 6, and that's our rule. We're going to multiply exponents. So x to the fourth times 2, so x or 4 times 2 gives me 8, so I get x to the eighth. And why don't you try that last one? I get x to the 28th. 7 times 4 is 28. For a fourth one, we have power of a product. Now this is basically like power of a power, but we have a couple going on in there. So think of it as like distributive property. I'm going to take my 2 here, and I'm going to distribute it to the exponents. So I'm going to have a to the fourth squared and b to the third squared. So I'm going to get a to the eighth. We're using this power of a power rule there. And then we have b to the, well, 3 times 2 is 6. So it's like I'm using the power of a power rule twice. Let's try the next one. M to the fourth squared. So I'm going to take this 2, distribute it to both. I'm going to get m to the eighth, n to the fourth. Try the last one. Keep in mind, this is n to the first. So when I distribute, that 3 goes to the 5 and the 1. I'm going to have m to the 15th, n to the third. So my rule here is distribute the exponent. So distribute our exponent. Power of a quotient. Same idea as power of a product, except we're distributing to both the numerator and the denominator of this quotient here. Well, I'm going to take that 3, distribute it to the 2 and the 3, so I'm going to have m to the 2 times 3 is 6, and n to the 3 times 3 is 9. There we go. Okay, the next one, x to the 4th over y squared, all to the 2nd power. Take that 2, distribute it. We get x to the 8th over y to the 4th. Ooh, that was fun. All right, and here, once again, be careful, we have x to the 1st. Why don't you try that one? So I'm going to have x to the, well, 1 times 4 is 4, over 4 times 4, that's 16, so y to the 16th. All right, and once again, we are distributing the exponent. Awesome. You guys are ready for some super fun, cool examples. Oh, yeah.